Say me.
Wait, what? Okay, you said
You gotta tell him what book you're reading.
Right. To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. Chapter 1. When he was nearly 13, my brother, Jim, got his arm badly broken at the elbow. When it healed, and Jim's fears of never being able to play football were, what does that say? Assuaged. He was seldom self-conscious about his injury. His left arm was somewhat shorter than his right. When he stood or walked, the back of his hand was at right angles to his body. His thumb parallel to his thigh. He couldn't have cared less, as long as he could pass and punt. When enough years had gone by to enable us to look back on them, we sometimes discussed the events leading to his accident. I maintain that, what does that say, Ewells?
The Ewells.
Ewells started it all, but Jim, who was 4 years old, my senior, said.
Read that again. What?
Who was 4 years my senior, said it started long before that. He said it began the summer Dill came to us, when Dill first gave us the idea of making Boo Radley come out. I said if he wanted to take a broad view of the thing, it really began with Andrew Jackson. If General Jackson hadn't run the creeks up the creek, Simon Finch would have never paddled up the Alabama. And where would we be if it hadn't? We were far too old to settle an argument with a fist fight, so we consulted Atticus, our father. We both were right. Being Southerners, it wasn't a source of shame to some. To some members of the family that we had no recorded ancestors on either side of Battle Hastings. All we had was Simon Finch, a fur trapping anthropology apothecary from Cornwall, whose piety was exceeded by his stinginess. Mm-hmm. In England, Simon was irritated by the persecution of those who called themselves Methodists at the hands of their liberal brethren. Mm-hmm. As Simon called himself a Methodist.
Slow down. It's okay.
He worked his way across the Atlantic to Philadelphia, then to Jamaica, thence to Mobile, and up the St. Stephens. Mindful of the John Weasley strictures on use of many words in buying, selling, and selling, Simon made a pile of practicing medicine.
Made a pile
of practicing medicine.
No. Made a pile practicing medicine. So what they're talking about is that what Simon did was he was buying and selling. So that's why they made reference to John Wesley's strictures on the use of many words in buying and selling. So a pile, what is a pile? A pile of what?
Money?
You got that right.
All right. Simon made a pile practicing medicine, but in the pursuit, he was unhappy, lest he be tempted into doing what he knew was not for the glory of God, as the putting on of gold and costly apparel. So Simon, having forgotten his teacher's dictum on the possession of human chattels.
Where is it?
Chateaus.
I can't see. Where is it?
chattels, about 3 slaves, and their aid established a homestead on the banks.
And with their aid established a homestead.
And with their aid established a homestead on the banks of the Alabama River, some 40 miles above St. Stephen's. He returned to St. Stephen's only once to find a wife and her established a line ran high.
And with her
established.
Take your time and read what's there.
Okay. A line that ran high to daughters. Simon lived to an impressive age and died rich. It was customary for the men in the family to remain on Simon's homestead, Finch's Landing, and made their living from cotton. The place was self-sufficient, modest in comparison with the empires around it. The landing nevertheless produced everything that required to sustain life except ice, wheat, flour, and articles of clothing, supplied by riverboats from Mobile. Simon would have regarded with impotent fury the disturbances between the North and the South, as it left his descendants stripped of everything but their land. Yet the tradition of living on the land remained unbroken until well into the 20th century, when my father, Atticus Finch, went to Montgomery to read law, and his younger brother went to Boston to study medicine. Their sister Alexandra was the Finch who remained at the landing. She married a, what does that say?
I think it's a
taciturn man who spent most of his time lying in a hammock by the river, wondering if his trout lines were full. When my father admitted to the bar, he returned to Macomb, and began his practice. Macomb, some 20 miles east from Finch's Landing, was the county seat of Macomb Country. Macomb County. Atticus's office in the courthouse contained little than a hat rack, a spittoon, a checkerboard, and an unsullied code of Alabama.
Unsullied
Code
yes.
of Alabama. His first 2 clients were the last 2 persons hanged in Macomb County Jail. Atticus had urged them to accept the state's generosity in allowing them to plead guilty to second-degree murder and escape with their lives. But they were Haverfords.
Good job.
In Macomb County. A name synonymous with Jack. The Harvards.
You have to say the word.
Okay. With.
So start the sentence again.
Sorry. Where is it? Dang. Start. Atticus had urged them to accept the state's generosity in allowing them to plead guilty to second-degree murder and escaped with their lives. But they were Haverfords in Macomb County, in a name synonymous with jackass. The Haverfords had dispatched Jack Macomb's leading blacksmith.
Let me put the book down and read up so people can hear you.
In a misunderstanding arising from the alleged wrongful detention of a mayor, were imprudent enough to do it in the presence of 3 witnesses instead of the son. Oh my gosh, a son of a bitch had it coming to him.
And insisted that the son of a bitch had it coming to him.
Okay.
Was a
Was
good enough
defense for anybody. They persisted
Mm-hmm.
in not pleading guilty.
In pleading,
In
slow down and read what's there.
and pleading not guilty to
Right.
first-degree murder. So there was nothing much Atticus could do for his clients except be present in their
Hold your head up
and
read into the sheets.
and be present
Mm-hmm.
at their departure. An occasion that was probably at the beginning of my father's profound distaste for the
Mm-hmm.
distaste for the practice of criminal law. During his first 5 years in Macomb, Atticus practiced economy more than anything. For several years thereafter, he invested his earnings in his brother's education. John Hale Finch was 10 years younger than my father, and chose to study medicine at the time, when cotton was not worth growing. But after getting Uncle Jack started, Atticus derived
Where is it?
right here
Derived.
a reasonable income from the law. He liked Macomb. He was a Macomb County born and bred. He knew of his people. He knew of him, and because
They
knew him, and because of Simon Finch's industry, Atticus was related by blood or marriage to nearly every family in the town. Well, now we're on page 6, and it's time for us to go. But we'll be back tomorrow. So hope you liked it. See you tomorrow.
Have a good night.